Well, good morning, everybody. It is still morning, I think, isn't it, Nancy?
Yep. Boy, anyhow, I feel like it should still be at home.
I feel like it should be 11 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
That's what you get for having a slow night of sleep. Anyway, it is the bucket list. I'm old Dr. Paul, along with sweet little Miss Nancy. Our last name is Collins. Some of you know us from the old happy hour, which we did for a number of years on Friday mornings. And now we're doing the bucket list on Monday mornings, Central Daylight Time, 10 o'clock. And we invite you to tell a friend, spread the word, and have some folks get on board. The kind of information we're providing is not entertainment. It's information that's very vital to everybody, but especially those who are retired or are approaching retirement age.
Or, Paul Collins, even somebody 25 or 30 that's working, they need to have information so that they can get ready. It's not going to be at the last minute.
Yes, because yesterday I was 25, today I'm 85, so guess how old you're going to be tomorrow? Time flies. Mm-hmm. If I'd had someone telling me many years ago what to do about preparing for the future, I would have been much better prepared.
That's
However, never too late. So I started a process after retirement, and so-called retirement, and brought us to a point of being debt-free. And so we share that information with others. On this program, the bucket list, the object is there are a lot of things that you put off. They're down at the bottom of your bucket. We want to dig down in the bucket and pull out those things that really ought to have your attention. So the first broadcast, Nancy, we just kind of gave an overview of all the things we would cover. The second broadcast, we went into the history of the Internal Revenue Service and the income tax, personal income tax. And then we followed that up with another program to go a little deeper into it and to touch on Medicare and Social Security. And we followed that up with some more information about Medicare and Social Security. Now, this is the kind of program that you want to save. It will be on the Acts Ministry website, actsmediagroup.com. That's ACTS mediagroup.com. And it'll be preserved there so that you can go in, check it out. As Dr. Jim Wining says, it's the kind of program where you go into it and you soak. It's not something that you just get entertained and go on. The information is such that you just need to go in and retrieve the information, go over it and over it and over it, and do your own, what we call due diligence. One of the reasons why this bucket list program is so important, Nancy, is because something I pointed out on the happy hour a few times, but can never be pointed out too much. The figures that I'm going to give now, the percentages, are 3 years old. They've not gotten better. They've become more extreme. 57% of the American adults of working age can't write a check for $1,000. That's probably higher now because of inflation and the pandemic and so forth. But 57% can't write a check for $1,000. 44%, now think about this, can't write a check for $400. Isn't that something? 22% can't pay their monthly bills. The personal bankruptcy rates are really high. They're very high and climbing. A lot of the problem has to do with credit cards. And I remember when credit cards began, some people who were very wealthy had a Diners Club card, but then they came out with Master Charge, I think it was called at that time. Master Charge is what it was called at that time. And, well, we just had sound like an explosion going on. Anyway, we saw that develop into a variety of credit cards, lots of credit cards. And so Now, credit cards are in common usage. It's unusual, for instance, to go through the checkout line at a supermarket and see anybody use cash. That's rare. It's even rare to see anybody take the time to write a check. They're using credit cards or debit cards. They look the same, but they have a different function. Credit cards, you're charging something to a line of credit. Debit cards, they're taking it directly out of a bank account or a savings account, as it might be, usually a bank account. So the plastic card is in wide usage right now. And the figures I'm going to give you here are 3 years old, so it's even more extreme now. Mm-hmm. Credit card companies have managed to accumulate about $600 billion on fees in 1 year.
You said fees.
Fees, yeah, what they charge
Whoa.
because of being behind or because you are only making the minimum payment on a credit card, not paying it off when it comes in. As a result, 43% of the people who have these credit cards struggle to pay just the minimum each month. For instance, if the minimum payment is $45, they struggle to pay the $45. Can you imagine that?
I know, but to butt in, think about with all the taxes and everything that's going up, it's going to be even harder for more people.
Well, yes, the tax rates are going to go up, and of course, when they raise corporate income tax, that cost is passed down to the consumer, which means we pay more for goods and services. So the cost of living is going up, and it's increasing at a more rapid rate than most people realize, unless you pay close attention to your grocery store bill. When you look at that receipt, look at the prices, you'll discover inflation is very real and it is extreme. So anyway, 43% struggle just to pay the minimum on their credit card. They're not paying anything against the principal. They're basically paying high interest. Then to put into this mix, we had 33% of the people who said point blank they hated their jobs. Now, this became quite evident then during the pandemic when the federal government provided more unemployment benefits. And so as a result, a lot of people were collecting so much in unemployment, they hated their jobs, they just didn't go back to work. And as a result, all over Springfield, Missouri, where we're located, you see signs in businesses where they're wanting to hire people. There's a McDonald's in Florida, I saw in the news, that owner of that franchise in Florida was offering $50 cash to anyone who would apply for a job. Now, when you're having to pay people to apply for a job, I also notice there are hiring incentives. There's some places where they're giving a $1,500 incentive. I saw one of those just the other day. So right now we have so many people that hate their jobs, and the way the government is handing out money, it's a good excuse not to go back to work.
I know, but there's a lot of places they've increased the hourly wage that people are paid.
Oh yes, they've even done that, and then given them a bonus for signing on. And, but we now have a shortage of truck drivers, for instance, and that creates a shortage of goods.
Yeah, and gasoline.
And gasoline's gone up. But anyway, a shortage of goods. For instance, I saw in the news yesterday where chlorine that would be used to make swimming pools safe, there's a shortage of chlorine. Now, remember when we had the great paper caper, I called it, when toilet tissue and paper towels were hard to get? Well, they're in abundance now, but chlorine is in short supply. If you check out the supermarket shelves, you'll discover a number of things in short supply. Another thing about delivery, when we were looking for a deep freeze the other day,
Oh
they wouldn't sell us anything off the floor. They wanted to order it.
And they had plenty on the floor.
Yeah, but except they had plenty of chest types, but no uprights. And but they wouldn't sell you anything off the floor. They had to order it, and then it was going to take like 3 weeks to a month to get delivery.
There was one that wasn't going to be able to deliver until July.
Yeah, one, and then their delivery charges were $99, and we lived within a mile and a half of the store. It was going to cost $99. Well, we found another way. There's always another way, because part of the program today will be, we'll get back to this thing about how to save. Anyway, some of these statistics. Over the last 20 years, people between the ages of 65 to 84 has increased by more than 20%. And the population 85 and over, my age group, has increased by more than 80%. So this means you probably have a chance to live a long time. You need to do something about your finances, because you can't live just on love. It takes some money as well, finances. Okay, let's see, about 2.5% of the population 85 years or older live in nursing homes or some kind of.
What was that percentage?
85.
85, yeah.
2.5% of those 85 and older live in some kind of residential care, nursing home, et cetera. And that figure's gone way up since then.
Yeah.
The nursing home business is good, put it that way. Now, with those things in mind, otherwise about nursing homes, and people need to think about it. You get old enough, you may end up in a nursing home. Now, Nancy, I remember when nursing homes didn't exist. They were rest homes, and they had no medical facilities. They had no central air. They were like boarding houses for people who were basically bedfast. And it was not a pretty sight. When I was a young pastor, I made visits to those places, and they were primitive. They were hot in the winter, in the summer, cold in the winter, smelly. Hygiene was not good. Food wasn't good. Medical care was almost non-existent.
Is that, after all of that time, was that why there was a Department of Health and Senior Services?
Yes, that helped to bring on the State Department. States started doing something about, see, before it was like, they started out as the county poor farm.
Yeah.
And then they became the rest home. And then eventually the state got involved. Anyway, 1.4 million people as of 5 years ago, live in nursing homes. They're living on, 2/3 of them rely on Medicaid. Now, that's another issue. It's not Medicare, it's Medicaid. Medicare is strictly federal, part of your Social Security. Medicaid is federal and state. Here in the state of Missouri, we've had a legislative battle going on. The federal government wants to give the state of Missouri more money for Medicaid, but it has to be matched by the state, and the state legislature just recently, in this current session, turned down the increase in Medicaid that would have put more people on the Medicaid rolls. So we see also another little interesting tidbit here. 31.9% of the people who are retirement age are living with family. The reason is because they can't afford to live alone.
That's right.
This population has increased a bunch, so you need to be aware that you will, if you're not already of retirement age, you live long enough, you will be. And if you have people in your family that aren't yet of retirement age, they are older than you, they will reach retirement age.
Yeah, see, and the thought comes to mind just now, that if you're younger than what you think we're talking about, and that, like, I would never do that. There's a lot of nevers that people say out loud or in their mind, oh, they would never do that. But as time goes on and you get older, if you're going to face facts, you have to face the fact. You should have never said never, and at least listen to information. So when if the time comes, you will have the information to do what is needed to be done.
Right, and I want to make certain I don't create a wrong impression that growing old is a drudgery, it's bad and all. No, it's great.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, growing old is not for sissies.
No.
And getting ready to grow old is not for sissies.
No.
Please hear what I'm saying to you. Whatever your age is and you're watching this, now is the time to start preparing for your elder years. Mm-hmm. They will come. I remember when I was in elementary school playing basketball for West Park Elementary School in Moberly, Missouri. And we won the city championship. I remember it like it was yesterday. Well, it wasn't yesterday. I remember when I entered college. I remember when I graduated college. I remember when I graduated from seminary. I remember when I finished the work and was awarded my doctor's degree in psychology. I remember all that. It was like yesterday. It's like yesterday that I was teaching at local college here. But I've been away from that for 10 years. Time moves on. So what I'm saying to you is prepare, start now. Whatever your age, start now. If you have family members, and you do, urge them to begin now. And go to axmediagroup.com, and through the axmediagroup.com website, you can contact me, and I will establish an email relationship with you, and I'll give you some more insight, more instruction, more details. I'll give you resources you can turn to that will help you. One of the greatest things you can do for yourself and your family is always be prepared.
Yeah.
The Boy Scout motto, always be prepared. Mm-hmm. Now, in order to prepare for the possibility of a nursing home or extended care or residential care, in order to be prepared for maybe becoming disabled, or to prepare for reaching a retirement age, whatever that may be, it varies on how old you are now as to when your retirement age will be. But in order to be prepared, you will need to get your finances in shape and in order. And we started something last week about this that we're going to continue in just a little bit. But as we prepare now for a commercial break, we'll take that commercial break for 2 or 3 minutes, come back, be with us, because I'm going to tell you how to get ready to get out of debt so you can get ready for good retirement. We'll be back after this message.
Homeowners will try to DIY a job with the most ridiculous items, like a mat screwed to the roof
Oh my.
to fix a leak.
A main electrical panel inside of a shower unit in the basement.
Yeah, I mean, the most ridiculous things, what they think is saving money will cost 10 times more.
If I let fear get in the way of things that are happening in my life right now, I might allow negative to continue and allow things that are not okay to exist because of fear. Because when you do allow yourself to be real, it lets other people's barrier down and it lets them be real.
Extra Mile Home Inspection, this is Rob.
Yes, do you do repairs as well as inspections?
Yes, we do.
My husband put the shower in our basement over the electric panel, the fuse thing, the breaker box.
My back is killing me. Why don't you go to Halo Massage and Wellness? Do I have to take my clothes off?
We're back. Hope you paid close attention to that message. It's always worth listening to. Anyway, we're going to be dealing now with your money so that you can get some insight into how to be ready to retire, or even if it's early retirement, you know, even if you don't wait until you're 65, 67, depending on your age bracket or whatever, so that you can retire and be very useful in the remainder of your years. Now, I'm going to be 86 this June the 5th, and I feel like I'm doing something useful because every day I'm busy, and there are things that we do that we don't have to charge for simply because we followed good direction to get where we are, and we're not wealthy.
Oh, and this is neat, I'll throw this in. Remember when I was still working, and I didn't tell you this, but I always thought that I would work till I was 70. The Holy Spirit knew, and so he told me when to retire. And that was when I became 65.
That's right.
Which
That's right.
we're talking about 5 years of not working
And
when I thought I could have.
and in those 5 years, all that salary you would have earned,
That's right.
we could have put someplace to accumulate. And
Exactly.
likewise, I gave up teaching 10 years ago at Ozark Technical Community College.
Yep.
I was teaching philosophy and ethics and psychology and et cetera. I could have been working and kept keeping that money,
Yeah.
but we chose to do something different, and we were able to. I gave
Yes.
as an example yesterday in a little church group that we have made, just in the last few years, we've made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 trips of over 200 miles, and to take care of funeral services, and had spend the night one time and back, and we had to feed ourselves. We provided our own transportation, never charged anybody anything. We were able to do it. We had the time to do it. We had the money to do it. Not a big thing, but it blessed some people. So they didn't have to be concerned about how much honorarium to give the pastor. They didn't have to worry about paying our mileage or our meals or our hotel room. The family was free of all that concern. They were free to celebrate the life of their loved one and to mourn and their death properly without worrying about paying somebody. Now, that's a blessing. It really is. And we're not wealthy people. Far from it. But we don't owe anybody anything, so that makes us wealthy. We're not wealthy in terms of money. Our income is very small. We're living on Social Security, but we have things in order. Therefore, we can enjoy retirement and do things for other people and not worry about what it's going to cost. As long as they don't ask us to go around the world, we're okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I've never been outside the continental United States, and you know that's just okay too. I have no desire to go anyplace else. You know, why would I? And in fact, Nancy and I, we love Springburg, USA, our little Springfield, Missouri, and we love our neighborhood. We love our house. We don't need to go anyplace. I don't have a hankering for that. Anyway, but if you do, let me help you get ready. First thing you have to do if you want to get out of debt is you have to learn how to save. Now, this was taught to me by the Holy Spirit. So, yeah, I'm a preacher. I'm a clergyman, been a minister of the gospel. I'm in my 67th year. And I was trained for this, and I was trained for other matters too, like in psychology. But the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and the first step was to learn how to save. He taught me how to save. I learned that I recaptured an idea that I'd had 20 years prior of writing down literally every penny that I spent, the day, the date, the amount, and what I spent it for. Even parking meter money in Jefferson City, where I was living at the time. Every penny. Now it's easier to do because we're not carrying change hardly. We're not doing much with cash, with currency. So you can take a look at your credit card bill and you know exactly where you spent all of your money. Mm-hmm. Now you extrapolate it out to categories. Some credit card invoices will show you by category. Mm-hmm. American Express shows you what you spent on what things and who, whether it was you that spent it or whether it was me that spent it. So keeping track now of your saving, of your spending so that you can save. That's where it begins. Nancy, when we go up and down one of the main thoroughfares here in Springfield, we pass a certain rather well-known coffee place, and there's always a long line of cars waiting to go through the drive-through, and I don't know what that coffee's what's it cost for the cup of that coffee? $6 or something or other? $2? That's with no trimmings. $2 a cup. Well, you know, where you go, $2. If you go to one of those, that big name brand out of Seattle, it's a little more? 5 to 10. That's what I'm talking about. We know somebody who can't drive past one of those places without driving in, getting a little cup. It's got all this foam and froth and stuff on top of it. I think she buys it because it's sweet, and that adds up. You do that every day. If it's $5 a day, that's $25 a week in a 5-day week, and that's $100 a month. When we ate out the last time, we were at a chain restaurant. I had a hamburger, not a cheeseburger, because I found out I'm allergic to certain cheese. I didn't have any tomatoes on it or ketchup because I'm allergic to tomatoes and all tomato products. So when we're talking a plain hamburger, it had some French fries that came with it. It was $8.90. That's a long ways from the 19-cent hamburgers that we bought, 10-cent hamburgers at the first McDonald's that I knew of in St. Joe, Missouri on Belt Highway. I thought that was a lot of money. Big difference between 10 cents and $8.90, right? Okay. So it's very easy to allow a lot of money to slip through your fingers. If you do that with coffee, and you do that with fast food, and you do that with extra driving that you don't have to do, you do that with extra frills on your cell phone that you don't have to have, pretty soon you're looking at maybe $500 or $600 a month. That's just gone. Now, let's say it's $500 a month. That ends up being $6,000 a year. What can you do with that? So my point is, the first thing that you have to do if you want to get out of debt, you have to learn how to save. And that means finding where you spend your money, and certain things that are not necessary, don't spend it. Retrain yourself. You're not into self-denial. You're into self-improvement. Big difference. Mm-hmm. Somebody who says, well, I've got to deny myself so that I can save money. No, you are into self-improvement. You're going to self-improve and save money. Mental attitude. Everything really begins right up here. In the most important distance in the human anatomy is from ear to ear, here to here, ear to ear. because that's where decisions are made up here. So if you want to be free, debt-free, start by learning how to save. Save every place you can. Now, you don't have to be like a friend of mine who's really as tight as the bark on a tree and really does without a lot of things that he doesn't have to do without. And because it's almost like he's obsessed with money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about self-improvement. And anytime that you can work toward being debt-free, that is self-improvement. So learn how to save. If you want to know more about this with some other angles about how to save, go to the website, axmediagroup.com, contact me through the website, and I will send you by email all kinds of information about how you can save. Now, notice I haven't used the word budget. People don't like to say, I have to make a budget and have to live on a budget. I don't know anybody, personally, that wants to have a budget. You mention budget, and people get turned off. I'm not talking about budget. I'm talking about, I will show you places where you can save. Now, when you learn how to save, you're going to end up with some extra money. What do you do with it? You invest it. Wait a minute. I'm not talking cryptocurrency because that's smoke and mirrors. I don't do that. I'm not even talking the stock market. The stock market right now is inflated. It's a bubble. What goes up must come down. If you buy into the stock market now, you might as well get ready to lose some money because it will come down. The Fibonacci Principle. If you don't know about Fibonacci, go online, Google him. He was an Italian mathematician, and he predicted a long time ago, mathematically, how the stock market works. And we had a young day trader who showed us this principle probably 10 years ago. Guess what? He was right. The Fibonacci Principle. Don't mess with the stock market when you've got a few extra bucks right now. That's not the place to do it. I'll tell you about investing. Here's some ways that you can do it. Maybe find the right page here in my notes. You can invest in some tools that you can use to make something to sell. We know someone who's very close to us who knows how to make jewelry. Beautiful jewelry. Rings, silver and turquoise and so forth, and it sells for good money. And it's a hobby that's very profitable. But you see, he had to buy the tools. Now, he also knows how to make beautiful hunting knives. They're absolutely something to write home about. They're to put in a catalog. Beautiful. Had to have tools for that, but they sell for big dollars. There's all kinds of things that you can do with tools. Get an idea. I've said for a long time, one idea plus one thing could equal $1 million. Just one idea. Get some tools. Get an idea, get some tools. Hand tools. Oh, also, you save enough money, there may be a small machine. It may be as small as something that polishes rocks. Do you know that polished rocks sell? And polished rocks can be used in jewelry. Just a little machine. There's all kinds. All you have to do is do a little research. Contact me online through Axe Media Group, and I will correspond with you by email, and I'll give you all kinds of ideas about what to do with the money you've saved so that it becomes an investment that makes more money. Even, guess what? Even this old guy who's almost 86 years old can tell you about some things you can purchase for your computer or your handheld device. I call it my stupid smartphone. Some of them are really smart, mine's stupid, but I can tell you some things that you can get that can turn your computer or this little stupid smartphone into a money-making machine. Yeah. But you have to save to have the money to do it. When I get home today, I'll be looking at the details of a computer program that will help my guy who's going to be doing our book publishing for us, and it will be an investment that will pay off many times when I buy that program. So go to axmediagroup.com, and as Dr. Whining would say, soak in this information and be in touch. I'll help you. I promise I'll try very hard. I'll tell you how help works. Help works this way. I reach out and I give you all the assistance I can, but unless you wrap yourself into it and partner, it doesn't work. But I'll help you if you're willing. Now, there's another way that you can invest. It's little personal businesses. People are afraid of marketing, afraid of sales. Guess what? You can be involved and you don't have to sell anything, because there's a team concept I can tell you about, that you can belong to the team. Somebody else does the selling. How would you like to make 10, 15, 20, 30% on something that you didn't have to sell? Somebody else is selling it. You can do it. There are ways I can tell you about team marketing. I can tell you also that you can invest in silver coins, gold coins. You can invest in silver bullion. You can invest in junk silver. You can invest in just pocket change. You don't even have to be a big buyer of $20 silver pieces or whatever. Even coins, just simple coins that are going out of style. You can invest in other collectibles. You can learn how to go to a home sale or a yard sale and spot something that really is a collectible. You could do that. We'll tell you how. We'll tell you how you can start investing in land. Land will always be here until the world blows up. We can tell you how to acquire a piece of land with what you have saved and then make the land produce. We're going to be given a side of beef this week, all ready for the deep freeze. It's coming off of land the guy owns. The land is producing beef, and he's going to have extra. He called, and he'll be giving us a side of beef. Wonderful. Okay, you can also, believe it or not, with the little bit you save, you can begin to invest in real estate in terms of houses or a little business office building or something. It can be done. I'll tell you, does this sound impossible? It's not impossible. I can tell you. AxeMediaGroup.com. Be in touch. And then I'll tell you one of the best investments you can make. Take what you save, pay off the credit cards. Because anytime you can save 15 to 20 to 25 to 28%, that's the same as making money. That's an investment. Nancy, we paid off our credit cards years ago. There's no telling how much money we made by paying off credit cards. Because when you don't pay interest, you're saving a lot of money. Now, back in March, we paid for our house. All that interest money, that's an investment we saved. Think about it. We want to help you. We're down to closing minutes. How much time we have, Jason? Less than a minute. That's just long enough to tell you to be sure and tell a friend. Tell a friend about the bucket list. And we're going to have some really good stuff for you next week when we talk more about investing, and then we'll talk about how to spend. You see, first you learn how to save, then you learn how to invest, then you learn how to spend. Don't spend money before you have it, and then you'll learn how to get. Once you're faithful in these things, it's amazing how it makes sense. It opens up the world, and all of a sudden you learn how to get money that you didn't get by investing or you didn't get by saving, because it's out there. There's a lot of it out there. I end this way. There's no shortage of money. It's just that you may be in a situation where it's all in the wrong pocket, somebody else's pocket. God wants you to be debt-free, and so do I. So until next week, old Dr. Paul and sweet little Miss Nancy, we simply tell you, you stay blessed. You hear?